The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Elisha, stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to the Jordan River.
As surely as the Lord lives, I will not leave you.
It seems we have reached the river's edge. Let me take off my mantle and roll it up, and I will strike the river.
Wow, this is awesome.
Yes, we're walking through on dry ground. Elisha, ask, what may I do for you before I am taken away?
If it's not too much to ask, let me inherit a double portion of your spirit.
A double portion, you say? You've asked such a hard thing. Nevertheless, I'll tell you what. If you see me when I'm taken away from you, it shall be so for you. But if not, it shall not be.
Very well.
Chariot. I guess it's time.
I guess this is goodbye. My father! The horsemen and the chariots of Israel! He dropped his cloak. This thing. Wait, I just saw him go up. So does that mean the double portion? I gotta check it out. Where now is the God of Elijah? He's with me as well.
Join us as we witness the extraordinary events surrounding the prophet Elijah and his devoted apprentice Elisha as they navigate the path between heaven and earth. Brace yourself for a captivating tale of divine encounters, supernatural power, and a quest for transcendence in the remarkable chapters of 2 Kings 2. All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your host, Earl Roberts.
Gate.
And I jumped. I was like, look like you were distracted. Anyway, hopefully everyone out there is having a great week. Hopefully, you guys had a great week. Thank you guys for tuning in again. We definitely appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Share it with a friend. We appreciate all the engagement that we get. We appreciate the comments. Definitely hit a comment. Even if you don't agree with us, we definitely appreciate all the engagement. Check us out on our streaming platforms as well. Anywhere a podcast is available. iHeart, Apple, Amazon now.
Spotify,
Yeah, Spotify was like from day one.
Yep.
And a bunch of other sites that I can't remember at this time, but definitely appreciate everyone. This is episode 141, I do believe. Man, we getting up there, close to 150.
Getting old now.
That's wild, bro. God is good. God is good. 141 episodes, man. Like that's impactful. That's impactful.
That is true.
Definitely, hopefully everyone enjoys our content style, how we break it down. I mean, there's some people who cover a whole book in an episode or in a podcast review or in like a Bible review, but sometimes a chapter by chapter or 2 chapters or however many we squeeze in. But I think it's good to our perspective on it. Yeah, we're not theologians, but try to do our best studying and reviewing before these episodes. Yeah, but enough about that.
It's a Bible study,
Go for it. Yeah,
it's a Bible study that we record. That's the way I look at it.
Facts.
And I think it's important to look at it that way because, like you said, we ain't theologians, right? So a lot of times certain things might hit us right while we on the point. You know what I'm saying? Or we might have missed something during our studies and continue to miss it on the pod. And so it's like, you can't look at it and be like, oh, these guys don't know what they're talking about. Because at the end of the day, we trying to learn. And I feel like this is a tool for other people who trying to learn as well. And that's how it would be if you were here with us, reading and we was studying the word together. It'd be just like this. We making jokes, we talking, we dissecting, and we just having dialogue.
Agreed. Man, weekly thought. Like, to me, I'd say like when we listen to certain songs, and I could have gone a whole different way with that when I said that first statement, right? But I feel like a lot of songs we listen to, especially like religious songs, just like break that distinction. But it's like, I feel like sometimes we like take the words for granted. And I feel like sometimes we really should like internalize those words and reflect on the goodness of God and really reflect on the things he has done for our lives. And just, take the time to reflect. I mean, because God has definitely been good. Sometimes we just listen to like, gospel music or religious music or spiritual music, Christian music, whichever genre you wanna classify it as, only on the weekends. So like, but even like during the week, you play a song, you're like, man, like this song really just hit me. Like, this is a song I needed to hear right now at this point in my life or at this point of my week because I need to be reminded of the goodness of God. So I just feel like don't take it for granted. Like actually internalize and don't forget to give God the praise, honor, glory that he deserves. Because I mean, he's doing a lot for us even when we think we're at our lowest. Like it could be worse. And God has a plan. And we got to keep trusting in that plan.
Amen. I was reading something in the Bible, I feel like in the last 2 weeks. And it's really escaping me because I can't remember the story, but it had something to do with music. And I was starting to develop a point on it. It might come back to me during the pod, but I think it was very interesting because it was, anyway, I don't even want to go down it because I can't remember all the points, but definitely music as a part of, your worship and your praise to God. That's definitely a fundamental part, in my opinion,
So this week we are in 2 Kings 2:2. And as a recap from last week's episode, we saw that last week, I called it like the man of God come down, but we see how King Ahaziah, wow, another week, another mispronunciation, was sick or fell through his second floor balcony through the lattice. And he wouldn't know if he was going to die. And so he sent his men to go inquire of Beelzebub and Ekron, a Philistine god. And God went to Elijah with a J, because it's going to be super important in this episode, with a J and say, hey, go to the king's man and ask them like, well, why y'all going there? Doesn't Israel have their own God? And he went, after he delivered that message, delivered back to the king. Elijah went on top of a hill. And then some men, captain and an army of 50 men came down and say, oh, if you're the man of God, come down. And Elijah's like, if you say I'm the man of God and I am, then let fire come down from heaven. So that happened about 2 times with the first commander and the second commander. And the third commander approached Elijah more humbly and saying, hey, I know you're a man of God. I understand the power that you wield. Please have mercy on me and my man. Long story short, just saying like, yo, we just trying to do our job. And yo, please come. And then the angel of the Lord came to Elijah and was like, yeah, you could go with this one. And then Elijah definitely delivered the message to Isaiah. And he surely did die. Yeah, that's a brief synopsis of last week's episode. Definitely go back and review it for yourself. If you have comments, leave a comment. We definitely appreciate it. But now this week, we are in 2 Kings 2. And the story just really takes a shift. And it's interesting how like, you go through the Bible sometimes like, oops, hard scene, cut.
Cut.
If you ask me, in my opinion, this is where the book of 2 Kings should have started. This chapter should have been 1 Kings. The last chapter of 1 Kings, or this should have been 2 Kings chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't way back in the day when they divided the scroll of Kings into books, so above my pay grade.
They probably really divided based on size.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it is uncanny though, because 1st and 2nd Samuel, it ended kind of the way we were talking about, at the end of Saul, and now it's David time. Saul just died, I think, at the end of 1st Samuel. And so 2nd Samuel, David probably was in the cave. That's when he killed the guy who claimed that he killed Saul. So you can see a shift in narrative, but this kind of continues briefly.
So, right out the gate, and it came to pass when the Lord was about to take up Elijah with a J into heaven by a whirlwind, that Elijah with a J went with Elisha with an S from Gilgal. And Elijah said to Elisha, stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to Bethel. But Elisha said, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they went down to Bethel. Go for it.
Elisha is a loyal gentleman. You know what I mean? And I only saying that because, right when Elijah first came and put his coat on, that was ready. So hold on, let me just deal with these last piece of oxen, and then I out.
Let me tell my family goodbye.
Right. Let me do that, and then we out for it.
But what I find was interesting too is like, we always have heard about like, growing up, like Elijah is about to get taken up into heaven in a chariot, right? But it's not like, at least when I was growing up, it sounded like, okay, this was like granted, it was a very supernatural event, so I don't want to minimize it by any means, shape, or form, right? But it's not like, because, what I'm about to say, it's not like I'm minimizing it, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't sound like it was common knowledge. Right? Like no one was expecting this to happen. Like it just miraculously happened, which it did. But it's like, it was like no one was waiting for it to happen. Was my understanding originally when I was growing up.
You thought they walk in the city and the vehicle was just right there chilling.
Yes, right. I thought it was like walking through the desert.
Yeah.
I thought it was walking through a desert and the chariot swooped down with the fire, and it was like Elijah was like, okay, bro, it's my time, bro. Peace out.
Peace. The way I envisioned it was that the chariot was waiting, like no cap, like he was walking one day, and he see this chariot, and it was like, all right, bro, this your ride. You know what I mean? He said, oh, what? You know what I mean? And take him and gone, but I don't think that's not practical.
No, and then I mean we're gonna keep on going, right? But this is the mere fact of how the chapter started off. Yeah, it came to pass. The Lord was about to take Elisha up to heaven in a whirlwind. No biggie. Like, It's about to happen. Like, in case you wondered what the punchline of this story was going to be, like in a movie, when the movie started, the climax, it was like, you might be wondering, how did we get here? Yeah. And then they do the build-up. You might be wondering, how did we get here? This is about to happen. Don't worry, but we can let you know, we can build up there slowly, but this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And so now we see, you got something else?
No, but that's funny though, because it is anticlimactic when you get the punchline before the setup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the script, the text could have started by saying, and once Elijah and Elisha was walking and this and that and the third. And then the Lord came to him and tell him, hey, you're going to go up today, X, Y, Z. But it was like, no, this was understood by all parties involved that Elijah was going to go. And then also it was other people that knew this. This was common knowledge. So my assumption is that he was told and he notified everyone. And he got the
might
date.
just been a prophecy or something like that.
A prophecy that hit a bunch of people one time. And,
Yeah.
You hitting a bunch of people. Yeah, that makes sense.
So now we see in verse 3, now the sons of the prophets who were at Bethel came to Elisha with an S and said to him, do you know that the Lord will take your master away from you over today? From over you today. And Elisha said, yes, I know, keep silent.
Silent, bro. The King James say, hold your peace. Keep your peace.
Hold your peace. Like I know this happening, like y'all leave me alone.
Relax, bro. You know when people just, they think they helping the situation, but they kind of rubbing it in. You know what I mean?
But I can see them all. Go for it.
No, go on.
Because like I always could see them being eager, right? Because like what I get from this too is like, I think the prophecy was Elijah is going to get taken away in a miraculous way. Like he just ain't going to die normally. Like something grand is about to happen in his death, but no one know exactly what. I think like granted, Kings was written after the fact. So the chariot of whirlwind, that might have been an addition after the fact, but I think, granted, I could be completely wrong. But I think it was like the prophecy was Elijah was going to get taken away in a miraculous way. No one knew exactly what it is, but it happening. Like Elisha, you know this is about to happen? Like we get message to this, like, but do you know? You with him? Do you know this is what happened? Elisha's like, bro, I know. Like, just chill, bro. Like,
yeah, but that's what I said. Depending on what this keep silent mean, it might mean like, bro, don't bring it up. Like I dealing with this. You know what I mean? I about to lose my boy for real, right? Or it could also mean, bro, you making it hot. You know what I mean? Let's act like we, in the Bible say, act like you act like you used to things. So in America, they say, act like you've been there before. Even if you have never been there before, keep you cool.
Act like you belong, man.
Act like you belong, bro. Like, that's one of the two ways I see it. Either like a little bit like, yeah, bro, yeah, it is what it is. I don't want to talk about it. Or it's like, bro, you're too excited right now. You know what I mean? Like, let's just relax.
And then now in verse 4, we see then Elisha said to him, Elisha, stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to Jericho. But he said, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they came to Jericho. And part of me also feels like, I don't know. I feel I might be reading too much into this, but I feel like Elijah testing Elisha right now too. Like, how close you gonna stay with me in these last days? Like how much you want to be around me to gain some of this knowledge or something? Like I just feel like he tests this type of shit because each time he's saying, bro, you could stay. You don't have to be here. Like I know what's about to happen to me. You know what's about to happen. Like, just this will just be the last time you see me, but you don't gotta be here. Like I'm giving you out. And Elijah say, no, I'm staying.
Yeah, I take Elisha as being a loyal guy. So even if Elijah was testing him, your boy passed it with.
No, he passed it. He passed it.
Colors.
Flying colors. Flying colors. So now the sons of the prophets who were in Jericho came to Elisha and said to him, do you know that the Lord will take your master from over you today? So we answered, yes, I know. Keep silent.
Keep silent, bro. Relax.
Oh my. So then Elijah said to him, stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to Jordan. But he said again, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So the two of them went on. And 50 men of the sons of prophets went and stood facing them at a distance, while the two of them stood by the Jordan. Now Elisha took his mantle, rolled it up, and struck the water. And it was divided this way and that, so that the two of them crossed over on dry ground.
This Elijah guy, but he doing everything.
I mean, the last time we saw the water parting was with Joshua.
Yeah.
That felt like, for podcast-wise, that was like over a year ago. Think how much bucks we have done since the water has parted.
Yeah, for real. Because when we start on Joshua, I was just starting my job. That was mid-2021.
Like, we have done all of Joshua since then. Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, and 1st Kings. all to say is like it's been a while since the water have passed, and in real time, this like couple centuries well.
I don't think and you know, everybody live in their own bubble, so someone might definitely disagree. But I don't think Elijah is as popular of Bible figures, people in the Bible,
As he should be.
as he should be, like compared to all that he has done, or all that is documented for him in the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, bro, the man resurrect. You
First person
understand?
resurrected dead.
Like, for real, bro. Like, you know, pardon season, and this seemed normal. He just throw his mantle down type of situation. You prophesying stuff with kings. You know what I'm saying? You the earthquake and this and that, but the Lord was not in the wind, and you know, a lot has gone down. Like King Solomon, very popular figure in the Bible. Now, granted, he wrote a bunch of Proverbs and a bunch of he wrote Ecclesiastes and stuff like that. So, and maybe he even wrote Songs of Solomon. You know, it's up for debate. So I get it, but this Elisha character, bro, like I feel like before reading the Bible, the only thing I knew about him is the chariot and maybe the widow, with not even the resurrecting part.
The oil and the flour. That's the popular story that he's here, but him dread.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's the big one.
The only bail I'll give Elijah is that I know way more Elijahs today than I do Solomon's.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know if just because it's a cliche Bible name, not disrespecting anybody who I know who name Elijah.
I think names have their runs, you know, because Noah having a big run in these past couple of years, bro. Like I think I look it up in 2021. I think Noah was like one of the most popular baby names in 2021. You know what I mean? Like I think Solomon though. I think Solomon was like our generation, and then like before I think, but like Elijah, that just keep coming back. Like
that's come back.
I keep coming back.
But I do agree with your overall point though that Elijah, like you don't hear as much about him. You don't hear that many sermons preached about him. Like, but I feel like he's a guy who should get a little bit more shine just for his devoutness. And then like his character arc too, because it was like he was perfect straight throughout. Like he had his moments of weakness where God had to come and check him on that. And then even like when we was talking about a time when he wasn't even in place, so God to use someone completely different to deliver the message to Ahab. So I mean, yeah, definitely should get a little bit more shine.
And so like back on that part, he ran away because he did not want to be killed. However, at that very moment, he did not want to be alive. He prayed to God that the Lord kill him. Take my life. That was his prayer. Like he did not want to be here anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so like
I'm over it.
No, he was really over it, bro. And I ain't saying that to say like that was a sin or anything like that, because like you could get to a point where it's like, bro, nothing in life you care for real. Like people could get like it to that point, you know, people could lose everything. You understand what I'm saying? Or, I mean, yeah, this is like, you know, certain people like my great aunt, she lived to be 95. But she didn't want to be here for a while. You understand what I'm saying? I get it. Her siblings, her family, they, you know, her parents not here anymore. You know, you done experience a lot of life. You done live past your 10. You know what I'm saying? And so you could get to a time it's like, bro, honestly, you know, I ready to just go to sleep until the Lord remain. And that came early for Elijah because of the peril that he's facing. Famines, right? Or maybe one famine, right? For years. But then you're surrounded by a bunch of Israelites who want to worship idols, and they trying to kill you along with all of the other prophets that they already killed. This is stress-induced time for Elijah, and this is an everyday thing. I got to live in caves. I got to rely on ravens. One day I wake up and some bread was just cooked for me on the coals. You know what I mean? Like, God, I appreciate that, but Elijah was depressed. I'd say that. Like, he didn't want to be there. And I think it's important to mention, because I think that directly relates to what's going on here. Like, he was done with Earth. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord granted his prayer, because he sent a chariot. And today is the day, that he gets to actually go to heaven and, see Jesus face to face and all that. So, very interesting God at Elijah.
I agree. I'd like to do probably a deep dive on him a little bit more. You should do a sermon on him.
I might, bro. I might.
So now we see in verse 9, and it was so when they had crossed over that Elijah, J, said to Elisha, S, ask what I might do for you before I am taken away from you. Elisha said, please let a double portion of your spirit be upon me. And that's what you're saying, like a double portion of your spirit to be upon me. What's your thoughts on that?
I think my thoughts is, Elijah just put down his mantle and the Red Sea crossed, right? I don't know what his communication to God was or what his confidence in the Holy Spirit was, but it ain't like when Joshua and Moses did that, where God said, yo, X, Y, Z, and this thing gonna be part, right? Now, granted, this man years after them, so he probably understand what God is capable of more than they did at the time because they hadn't known of it. But he just walked to the thing and put the thing down. He walked to the river, put the mantle down, and struck the water, and it divided. That's Holy Spirit right there. That's serious Holy Spirit. Like I don't even know how to describe it, bro. You got the confidence, you connected with God, you have the faith, and it is happening, right? You bring someone from the dead before, like your faith is probably off the meters, bro, for real. And so Elisha, his protege, his apprentice, is saying, yo, when you go, I would like to ask if I can have a double portion of the Holy Spirit on me. You know what I'm saying? In the Old Testament, they don't use that phrase, the Holy Spirit, like how I don't think they use it at all. In the New Testament, now granted the word ruach, I think that's the Hebrew word for spirit. It's also like breath or like mist or something along those lines. But they don't have the specific title like in the New Testament. Say the Holy Spirit came down in the form of a dove, stuff like that, But definitely from context clues, you can see the spirit that is talking about, that's God. Like you part in the Red Sea, like this man ain't no magician, like he ain't no sorcerer or anything like that. He prays to the Most High God. And it's because of that, that these things are happening, and Elijah is asking for a double portion, of that.
It's interesting, right? Because we see, I think it was a couple of things that's going to get played out as we go through the story. So it's like this kind of like a future looking, like, I guess, how I interpret it. We see Elijah, like essentially asking, like, I want to make sure that people confirm that, like, people know that I'm taking over your ministry. Like, I'm worthy of it. And I want it to be like from God's very special blessing. And it's interesting too, because like, if you go through like the narrative of it all, Elijah had like 7 miraculous things, that 7 stories that it was coming from, and then Elisha is gonna have like 14. So like in literary context, they actually gave him like a double portion of miracles that would be attributed to Elisha, right? But it's interesting too, because now we see this kind of reminds me of like a Solomon idea. What do you want? You almost have anything else you want, but you ain't asking for more fame. You ain't asking for more wealth. You ain't asking for more notoriety, no more power. You're saying, bro, I want to do to the best ability the job that God has for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, like, we don't get that much context here, but you could read other like biblical narratives, some stuff by Ellen White, different like patriarch and prophet, different like biblical commentaries. Prophets and Kings, and other different biblical commentaries, right? And you actually can see the narrative, like how much Elisha was with Elijah up to this point, right? And think about you seeing for yourself firsthand the things that Elisha can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you know the power come from the Holy Spirit, right? But it's like you get that doubt in yourself, like, yo, bro, can I live up to these expectations? Because now I about to take over this ministry. Bro, can I do the things that I see this guy doing? This guy done bring a child back from the dead. This guy done tell a woman during a famine in full confidence, your flour will not run out, your oil will not run dry. And it happened.
Mercy.
You know what I'm saying, bro? We just walked across this thing. This guy touched the river with his cloak, and the river part. You know what I'm saying? Like, and and think about it now. It can be coming real to you, like, bro, you about to be gone. Now the shoulder, like, now it really gonna fall on my shoulder, bro. Like, how can I do the things that you just did? And now people could be looking at me like, bro, you was Elisha's servant.
Mm-hmm. And then a bunch of the prophets get killed. So he ain't too much prophets to choose from, bro. You know what I mean? You was probably the most famous one. You stand the test of time. You speak against Ahaziah and his parents, Ahab and Jezebel, and you still around? And now I have to do that? Oh,
Exactly. And so now, to me, it's like, at the beginning of Samson, like, bro, I'm asking for exactly what I need to get this job done.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't trying to be too, like, boastful or nothing. Like, bro, man, if I'm going to be carrying on your ministry, bro, I almost need double the faith that you had, just so I could overcome my own self-doubt, and then have the doubt portion to match to where you were to get to where you was. Because you started off from level 0, bro. I had -20. So one portion ain't gonna bring me to your level. So, like, I just think it's powerful too, because, like, when faced with this question, again, I always ask myself, like, what would I ask for? What would I ask for? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not too boastful, it's not too prideful, but it's, like, sincere.
I think if you understand the severity of the moment, bro, I think you would do the right thing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate the faith. I appreciate the faith. So we see in verse 10 now. So he said, you have asked. I just can imagine the snarkiness of Elisha too. Like, because we see Elijah being given it up spicy through all his interactions. Like, well, I was expecting this answer, boy. You asked a hard thing. You trying to match me?
You want double me? You know what cool, eh?
Hey, that's cocky.
That was cocky.
My. But we see Elijah say, nevertheless. You got something? Sorry.
No. I just gonna get off some more.
Elijah say, nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so for you. But if not, it shall not be so. In other words, and this kind of gives me the thing too. Elijah was giving him an out because, again, I think Elijah knew, like, yo, something miraculous about to happen. I am perfectly fine being like Enoch and just vanishing. You know what I'm saying? Because we see Elijah, like, it looks like he wasn't really trying to spend too much, like, bring too much light on it either, because you see every other place Elijah isn't talking about it. The other prophets are talking about it. Mm-hmm. Like, this is like the first time we've seen Elijah himself acknowledging, like, yeah, I'm about to leave. So yeah. Go for it.
My bad, bro. My bad.
No, go for it. I was pretty much done.
And so I'm wondering. All right, so fast forward. Mm-hmm. Elisha is a story, I think, 2 Kings 8, 9, 10, one of them, where, not to spoil it too much, but Elisha is in trouble, right? And he's calm. An army is against Elisha, and he's calm. And he's
I love that story so much.
Right, and he's like, the person he's with, he's like, open their eyes.
So they could see.
The legion of angels, the heavenly hosts. He's like, bro, you think we outnumbered? No, we have the numbers. We outnumbering them. And that's because the person couldn't see. So what I'm thinking here is that Elijah is saying, if the Lord reveals to you this supernatural thing, you might just see me vanish. But what you can't see is this fiery chariot that takes me to heaven. Now, if God allows you to see that, you would know that, you have already been granted the double portion, You know what I'm saying? And I like that too, because this where just get a little iffy with semantics. In our day and age, in the English language, we use the word spirit in multiple different ways, right? Spirit could mean supernatural being, better, good or bad. So generally speaking, it's not God. It's like an angel, basically. It could be a ghost, it could be a demon, it could be an angel. That's what we use the word spirit to mean. But spirit could also mean your motivation. Oh, that's the spirit. You know what I'm saying? You got school spirit, right? I'm just thinking about the ways they use spirit, right? And here it says, give me a double portion of your spirit, right? And so, some people believe immortality of the soul. When you die, all of your consciousness roam as some sort of spirit, or you become an angel or whatever, right? So now, but the point I'm trying to say is, that's not to be confused with what is happening here. He is talking about the Holy Spirit. And the reason why we know this isn't anything that Elijah possesses, because Elijah can say, yes, you can have a double portion of my spirit. If it's something that I have created and something I can give you, it could have been a yes or no. But what Elijah didn't even give him a yes or no. He said, bro, dog, you asked something hard. And the only way you know what happened is if you could actually see this thing. Now, mind you, Elijah ain't bringing the chariot. All he doing is stepping on the chariot and the chariot doing the rest. That's how I envision it. So Elijah have no part to play in this. And he can't control what Elisha sees and what he doesn't see. You know what I'm saying? So from just based on his verbiage, I know that they are talking about the Holy Spirit, and he is saying, you will know that God has granted you the request that you ask of me if he allows you to even envision this type of thing, because you need to be in a certain faith and a certain consciousness with God to even see this type of thing. That's the way I interpret that.
That's a good interpretation, honestly. And I like how you break that down just now. Because it ain't like, again, like Elijah's like, yeah, for real, I can't do nothing about this.
Right. And he's a straight up guy. That's the way that's what I get from Elijah. Like, he's an upfront type of person, like, Yeah, and to your point, like, the power definitely ain't coming from him. So it's like, as much as I want to be able to say, yeah, I bestow this upon you, like, it ain't a crystal ball. Like, this power really coming from God. So only God himself, through your faith, and God himself can grant you this. So, and then in verse 11, then it happened as they continued on and talked, that suddenly a chariot of fire appeared with horses of fire and separated the two of them. Wow.
And Elisha went up by a whirlwind into heaven. There's the punchline. There's the climax.
That's it there. Imagine me and you walking, bro, in a fiery chariot just separate us, bro.
Just separate us, and you don't get burned.
No.
You don't get burned. You might not even feel the heat.
I also think that Elijah, sometimes, let's say I get invited somewhere, right? Let's say my face good, so I could get into this sport, right? But you won't go. And I tell you, bro, I know, dog, like, they only let me in because true, they know me. I can't vouch for you. You know what I mean? It's best you don't go. That's what I getting from this whole story, in a way. Because Elijah keep giving Shah a way for him to stay put. Because when I disappear, bro, you just, depending on what type of connection you have with God, you might not even see anything. So you might just be walking with me, and I am no more as like the quote unquote rapture of people, like Enoch. You know what I mean? Like, he walking and he is no more. You feel me? And so Elijah, I believe he keep trying to tell Shah, like, bro, God telling me go to Jericho. God telling me go this place. You might as well stay. And he like, no. Elisha like, no. I soaking up as much time as I could with you. This probably will be my last time seeing you until resurrection. So I just chilling with you, and so this the part where it finally happens. The chariot, come and split them two up.
Yeah. And I mean, just separate whole tangent. So now we see Elijah we have a little bit more of his story, but we see Elijah was one of the second person in the Bible who has been, as we say, that's the term for it, translated into heaven. Those people who will have going to heaven without experiencing death. And this is a whole different topic we could get into probably for another day. But Yeah, so Elijah is the representative of those who would be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. I think that's in what, 2 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians. I think it's 15. 1 Corinthians 15. I'll go with that. 1 Corinthians 15. Yeah. So, but Elijah represents those people. So, in the Mount of Transfiguration when Jesus was about before he died and all that stuff, there's two figures that appeared. One was Elijah, one was Moses, and Elijah was supposed to represent the prophets, but also represent those who would die, who would not die and go to heaven. Some represent the people who know Jesus dying for their sins. And Moses was representing the law and also those who would die and then go to heaven. So it's powerful. It's powerful. And just a miraculous way to go up too. Like, because all the Bible tells us Enos walked and was with no more. But then we see Elisha got swept up with chariots on a whirlwind. Like,
oh, interesting.
That's just what an entrance into heaven.
Boy, oh boy, you riding in style.
And just to know, I wonder what's going through Elijah's mind, because like, again, everyone know Elijah was about to go to heaven. I guess that might have been the prophecy, right? But to Elijah himself to know that, bro, I'm not even going to die. I'm probably going to be used as this symbology to go on for future generations, but I'm actually going to be able to experience life with God, like forever,
right?
Instantly. Like that's like, I just wonder what was going through his mind. Like the thoughts to even know your own personal journey, like what you just been through in your last couple of years, everything with Ahab, everything with different prophets, being on the run. Like, yeah.
I wonder if when he was in the cave and the Lord revealed himself with the still small voice that spoke to Elijah, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was around the time when Elijah asked God to kill him or take my life, I wonder if during that time the Lord explained to him
the plan.
Because from there, the next thing we know is, okay, anoint the king of Syria, anoint the king of Israel, and anoint the new prophet who coming into your place, Elisha. So it's like, well, where I going? If I have an apprentice, that must mean that he gonna take my shoes one day. When and why? And so, that could be a conversation we have as to how long did he know the plan? That's what I'm thinking. But other than that, it might not even be anything. It might just be, you might get retired from being a prophet, just chill out. What I mean? I go have someone else do it for you. But at the end of the day, he got the answer. God did not answer his prayer for him to die. But he gave him one better.
Mercy.
Yeah.
And then on verse 12, when Elisha saw it. So we see he did see what's happened.
Yeah.
And he cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel and its horsemen. So he saw him no more. And he took a hold of his own clothes and tore them in 2 pieces. He also took up the mantle of Elisha that had fallen from him. And he went back and stood at the bank of the Jordan. And he took the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him and struck the water. And he said, where is the Lord God of Elijah? And when he had struck the water, it was divided this way and that. He divided this way and that, and Elisha crossed over.
Mercy.
And again, it's so funny because it's like the direct passing of the torch that we saw from Moses to Joshua.
Yeah. Like
Joshua, for those who, again, remember, I kind of touched on this earlier, but like Joshua, one of the signs that he definitely was Moses' successor was when he parted
the River Jordan.
Bing. Because Moses did the same thing with the Red Sea. And so it's like, God is definitely with him. He's definitely Moses' successor. We are to follow him. And now we've seen Elijah had just gone up to heaven. Literally. This man trying to process all this information. Like, it's one thing to know something going to happen, but you never feel it until it does happen.
It does.
And so now it happened. Now we're here on my own. Now he said, okay, Elijah's mantle had fallen. So he literally, it's so funny. He quite literally has to pick up the mantle of Elijah. Quite literally, right? And he said, okay, I saw it. That means I should have the double portion of this blessing. Let's go in full confidence. Strikes the water. And then he says, where is the God of Elijah?
Mm.
And like people might, like even though when you read it might sound like he kind of was like, it was doubting. I don't even think he was doubting. He was just saying, yo, no, like God is with me now. Like the God of Elijah is my God too. And God, guess just how God was with Elijah, God is now with me.
Hmm.
And we see he strikes the water and it path, just like how it had just done for Elijah. And he's like, I'm here.
There it is. There it is.
We are here. It's a new sheriff in town, ladies and gentlemen.
Mercy.
The new sheriff in town. So now in verse 15, when the sons of the prophets who were from Jericho saw him.
Make me laugh.
Huh?
This part make me laugh.
Oh, yeah. They said, the spirit of Elijah rests on Elisha. And they came to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. Then they said to him, look now, there are 50 strong men with your servants. Please let them go and search for your master. Least perhaps the spirit of the Lord has taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley.
But true though, we know he's about to go up, but we didn't know the well.
I don't ask him, like, where's your faith, guys?
But they was like, bro, all right, he went up on the chariot. We're not denying that. But God might have just been taking him to
Someplace else.
to someplace else.
Sound logic, I guess. And he said, you shall not send anyone. But when they urged him, till he was ashamed, he said, send them. Therefore, they sent 50 men, and they searched for 3 days, but could not find them. But I'm like, bro, how y'all nagging me so much that I ashamed?
I think they nag him so much that he like, all right, man. All right, bro. Like,
just go.
Right.
And then, so now we see, and verse 18, then when they came back to him, for he had stayed in Jericho, he said to them, did I not say to you, do not go? In other words, they might tell you don't go.
I tell you don't go. All right.
All right. So now in verse 19, then the men of the city said to Elisha, please notice, the situation in this city is pleasant, as my Lord sees, but the water is bad and the ground is barren. Then he said, bring me a new bowl and put salt in it. So they brought it to him. Then he went out to the source of water and cast the salt in there. And he said, thus saith the Lord, I have healed this water. From it there shall be no more death or barrenness. So the water remains healed to this day, according to the word of Elisha, which he spoke. What do you think about that?
I don't know the box story, you know. But at the end of the day, I do think this way you getting to see the quote unquote spirit, the Holy Spirit resting upon Elisha, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just don't. I know what to make about the water bot and the ground barn. Like I get it. The ground, I don't know, bro. Like because he said it will be no more death or barrenness. I think this water might have been lacking something. You know what I'm saying, to actually hydrate the trees and the crops and stuff like that. Not really sure the science behind it, but probably the city was nice and pleasant. But it's like, in this day and age, bro, we go to work and you can find a job doing all type of different things. You know what I mean? I work from home. You know, me and you work from home. But I think you hybrid. But anyway, I'm trying to tell all the business.
Anyway, continue.
Back in them days, right? You had to work in the field and then, bro, like it was only a handful of jobs, and a lot of people were self-sustaining because they, you build your crops and stuff like that. You know, that's your way how you can make money. But then that's a lot of times that's what you're spending your money on. You're spending on food and spices and all type of different things just so you can sustain and live. And so one thing about a city, it have to be fertile. Like we have to be able to plant and grow stuff, and so the water wasn't doing that. And Elisha, he blessed the water and the water was healed.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I can't remember the order of the miracles right now, so forgive me. But to me, it's kind of interesting that one of his first miracles kind of dealt with like the healing of a land in some type of way. Because, okay, like one of the first things Elijah did was say, bro, a famine coming.
Right.
And then he also was able to help the widow and the son sustain life throughout the famine. One of the first things Elisha doing, minus, I'm not going to disregard the parting of the Jordan River, because that's a very important miracle. So again, like probably the second thing he's doing, he's saying, okay, cool, I'm going to like restore in some type of way, some type of barrenness to the land or to like this community. Like I'm going to give you guys a way to survive throughout it all. And I didn't prepare the parallels between this. So this just come to me. But it's just interesting too that one of the first things he's doing is saying, all right, cool, like I'm a heal you guys. And we see he's saying, this power ain't coming from me. The Lord said, I have healed this water. And it's funny, right? He healing the water by putting salt in it. And, yeah. Oh my. I'm like, I just say, but you're just making the water salty. I think you're making the water worse right now.
Right, you're taking away the hydration.
But our ways are not God's ways.
Exactly.
And God knew it's probably the salt ain't even probably do nothing.
A lot of times with these miracles, you see God do stuff that is like the opposite of what should happen. Like when the fire was about to come down for Elijah on the altar, and he said, yo, just pour a bunch of water on it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, but that makes it less flammable, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I say, that's the point.
Yeah, that's the point.
Oh my. Still, what remains to this day anyway. So in verse 23, then he went up from there to Bethel. And as he was going up the road, some youths came from the city and mocked him and said to him, go up, you bald head. Go up, you bald head. This part always make me laugh. So
it's the only description we have of Elisha thus far, bro.
And it's interesting, right? Because in direct parallel to Elijah, we know Elijah was described as a hairy man.
Yes.
Elisha is described as a hairless man.
No.
I'm just saying. It was right there, Kazi. What you want me to do?
Keen observation, bro. I didn't put that together.
It was right there.
We did not put that.
The man ball. That's the most opposite of hairy you could be.
But this the thing though. You see, Elisha just called Elijah my father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that could be respect, but I did think that Elijah was older than Elisha, right? However,
definitely was, yeah.
Right, but how old could Elisha be? He might just, he might just have a, I don't know what the proper term for it, but that might just be how his hair grew, but not like to say he was old enough to have a.
Some people suffer from early hair loss, Kazi.
That's true. And I'm wondering if that applies to him or if he was just old enough to have a bald head. You know what I mean? Like,
some people, it's a choice.
If he was that old, how old was Elijah? You know what I mean? Like, for him to be your father?
Questions that need answers.
For real, bro. Because we know Elisha's mother and father was still around when he was called into ministry. You know what I mean? I don't know if that tells us anything, but yeah, I know the youth though. Elisha obviously wasn't a youth because the youth, they sure made some separation between him and them.
Oh my. So he turned around in verse 24. He turned around and looked at them and pronounced a curse on them in the name of the Lord. And 2 female bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the youths.
Mercy.
Boy, mercy.
Why are you laughing at the youth, man?
We just say that's what you get. But my word, bro, you call someone bald head by and a bear come and get you, bro?
My question is, how many youth were there to begin with? We know 42 were mauled. Is that all of them? Or was there 50 or 100, That's what I think when I see like numbers.
Wait a minute, if I say 42 of them,
right?
That means by some get away.
Yeah.
It was only 2 bears, man. Because my thing is, how 42 of y'all let 2 bears strike y'all after 1 and 2? After 1 and 2 get strike, I was out of there.
For real.
But
Bro, I see that bear is out of there.
Right?
But he might have chased me and I might have been number one.
wait, bear's fast, buddy.
Well, I should say she might have chased me.
She-Bear. But again, I think it's also just like further like emphasizing that, Elijah is a prophet of God now, and he definitely did take over Elijah's ministry. And again, so y'all come here mocking the man of God, and y'all trying to mock me in a way to saying, yo, you go up like Elijah. Like, hold on, bro, relax, little youth. She mean go up like Elijah, bro. Like,
all right, now I can give you a parallel.
mm-hmm.
I can give you a parallel. It ain't direct parallel. They tell him go up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But remember the 50 men, well, the 102 men, I'll say the 250s and the captain, he's telling Elijah to come down.
Come down.
And they get they things. For lack of a better word. You understand what I said?
They get what they was looking for.
For real. And so now you see this. You see the same thing. The same type of disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this might even be more disrespectful, number one, because I am your elder. And number two, you insulted me, bro. Like the other people, the 50 men, they were kind of patronizing me in a way. But you insulted me. Go up, you ball head. Oh, why you body shaming me, bro? Like, of course, these type of things probably wasn't around back then, right? But why you doing this, bro?
This means so much to you.
I just healed the water. Why are y'all teasing me? Why are y'all trying to make a mockery of me? You know what I'm saying? What going on? Or maybe what possessed y'all to do this? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, this says a lot about these young men. Like, this a prophet. Mm-hmm. Why would you mess with, like, real
no
talk,
respect.
Bro? Like, why wouldn't you respect a prophet, especially during these times when you notice someone who connected to God? Like, in this day and age, a lot of people just throw the name prophet on them.
Mercy.
Just because they speak in tongues or because they inspirational. And I being real, bro. A lot of times, bro, people don't be prophesying nothing, especially not the way the Bible speaks of prophets. You know what I'm saying? Or a lot of times in the Christian church, bro, I have seen this, bro, especially in the Bahamas. The people calling themselves prophet, they act like fortune tellers, bro. Oh, I see a hurricane. I see a hurricane. But in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? It might say the Lord came to Nakhaz and told him X, Y, Z. So I relay the message, or I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord. So when Saul wanted a word from the Lord, the Bible says that he was not visited by prophet or dream or Urim. You understand what I'm saying? And so a lot of times, like, people just put on that name prophet, and they just inspirational people, bro. They just want to speak life into you. They want to tell you, yo, you're going in, you blessed on the way in, you blessed on the way out, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Bro, I ain't denying none of the blessings that are in the Bible, right? But in this time, you had someone that was healing. You understand what I'm saying? This is going to be someone who raised the dead. Or let's say none of his accolades even happen to their knowledge, right? You know how prophets are, and you know what prophets do during this time frame, during this day and age. Why are you disrespecting them? Would you have done this to a king? Would you have done this to a soldier? Would you have done this to any other person in authority? Why are you doing this? Like, what in you making you feel this way? Like, and that's the way I kind of analyze this situation. Why would I just go and disrespect a pastor? You know what I'm saying? Or a monk or some religious leader. I ain't just going up to the Pope and saying, push out, you boy, as if I do that today, you would think, and it does apply too. if I was to do that today, people would say I have some type of animosity towards him, or some type of motive, you know? And so I believe it's the same thing here, bro. Like, they might have, you never know, they might have been worshiping Beelzebub or all type of other things, and they were saying, boy, we don't want this prophet boy around us, bro. Leave, you know? And
it's a fact, yeah. Quite possibly could have been the case.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. That's my thoughts.
One more line and we done. Then he went from Mount Carmel and then he returned to Samaria. And that's the end of 2 Kings 2. So it's a lot. It was one of the shorter chapters, but it's a lot that happened. It's a lot that happened. A lot
of different things.
Yeah, it's a lot of different things. But man, it's a lot. It's funny. So there's a lot of stuff that could have been standalone sermons almost. But God's ways is not our ways, man. That's just because there's so many other questions like Elijah, like what made Elijah the one since Enoch?
Real talk.
Like what made again, because I have other nominations that I could have had from some of the some of the people we've discovered so far. You know what I'm saying? I have some nominations, you know what I'm saying? But like, again, my ways, his ways are not our ways.
And everything aligned in prophecy and everything so connected and interwoven, like what you were talking about on Transfiguration. Certain people who I listen to that break down the Bible. This is one guy, bro. School for Prophets. Shout out to School for Prophets.
Hello.
A lot of times he shows types. Bro, like, and some of the types, some like when I say type, he is showing like the foreshadowing of Jesus, right? Or the foreshadowing to something that Jesus did, right? So now if we didn't have the person who was translated, who saw heaven without death, right? We wouldn't, in the New Testament, when they were on Mount Transfiguration, we wouldn't see what that represents. And I was saying Tiller, he does a good job of showing certain things, but it might be certain stuff where I'd be like, I think that's a reach, you know what I mean? Or I got to do more research on that. But he does show a lot of parallels. So sometimes that's what I tend to think. And it might not be a situation of like, who else met the criteria, but it didn't happen to. But it might have been that I needed someone specifically to fulfill this prophecy or to set a groundwork. Or I need someone to be the type so that the anti-type can happen on Mount Transfiguration. You know what I'm saying? It might have been, in God's plan, he might say, man, I only want 2 people to actually go because it represents something else. So I might want this person to go. Or it might be that no one else fulfill the requirements to be, translated.
And I think like some of the beauty of it too is that we're not supposed to know.
Yeah.
Because we're human beings and people could fight me on this. But if we knew exactly like there was a criteria to do, that's all we would be aiming for. It's like if you have a conversation with your boss and your boss say, hey, guys, if you do X, Y, and Z, you guaranteed to make 50K more and like a big promotion. Like, that's all I got to do?
Oh, yeah.
Should have told me this 2 years ago, man. I'd have knocked this out for you.
Yeah, right. You do X, Y, Z.
Because now at this point, you ain't doing it because you care about your job or anything. You're just doing it because, okay, I want the reward at the end. And God's saying, no, I don't want that from y'all. I want this love and service because you actually truly love me. You believe in me. You believe what I can do for you. You can see what I have done for you. You believed in my son, Jesus Christ. You believe that was the one true way. Like, I want you to come to these things of your own fruition and love me because you love me, not because you want to do X, Y, and Z just to come and chill in the big mansion at the end of the day. No. And so I think that's the beauty of it. Like, as humans, we'd wonder what it took to make the criteria. And God, when we get to him, we ask questions, God would be like, there was no criteria. Because it really reminds me like this, like the master in the parable of the master went at different times of the day and offers a day's wages to every different people. Because God literally said at the end of the day, did you not make it to heaven as well?
So what's the issue?
Some people got here a little bit faster. Some people died. Some people didn't die.
Right.
Some people accepted me from the beginning of their life and never tarried. Some people accepted straight away, came back. And some people lived their whole life for sin. They came to me at the end. But what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? We all made it here at the end of the day. And so, I don't know, man. It's different ways to look at it. And in my limited wisdom, that's, nothing compared to God. You would have these questions, but to God knows the answer, obviously. But God's like, at the end of the day, what does it matter to you? Like, our focus should be us trying to make it to heaven, doing what we know, living our lives accordingly to his will, following his word, keeping his commandments, and knowing that someday, hopefully, in his will, that our names aren't blotted out of the book of life, that we could also dwell with him in paradise. So I think that should be all our goals, and I think that's kind of the importance of it.
Elijah has now ascended to heaven in a fiery chariot, and the prophet Elisha has now taken his place. Since the passing of King Ahab, the Moabites have rebelled against Israel. And now, the kings of Israel, Edom, and Judah have come to Elisha for help. They need to hear a word from the Lord. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.